Hello, welcome to Independent.ie. My name is Seán O'Connor. I'm joined today by Daniel McDonnell to look back on Ireland's 4-0 win over Gibraltar in Faro. And Dan, anything less than a win here would have been a nightmare scenario for Ireland, and they avoided that. And the game was a bit of a non-event. What was your take on the evening?
Yeah, that's it. You're not really analysing it like a proper international in the sense that you're learning huge amounts from it that will be massively relevant for the future. I mean, look, I suppose mentioned in the preview, the only way don't think that can happen here is that things could get worse. For Stephen Kenny and the squad, but the result wasn't going to make things any better. I think they all know that. Subdued celebrations after the goals, a few nice aspects to it. Nice to see a team playing with wingers. So I mentioned this, in the written piece. Stephen Kenny's referred to it afterwards. First time he's been able to start Mikey Johnston and Chilozzi Ogbeni in the same game. And going forward, you can see that happening again in the future. Regardless of who's in charge, they're probably the two best options in those respective positions within that system. So Evan Ferguson score, and there's some nice little moments for individual players, but obviously all caveated by the reality of what the game actually meant.
I know the game was a bit of a non-event in itself, but it must have felt like a little bit of a home game as well. Our Ireland fans, 3,500 of them in Faro.
Yeah, in fairness to them, I know a lot of them would have their tickets booked a long time ago. I'd imagine quite a few of them have built a holiday around it. It's a nice part of the world to visit. The weather's been okay. And look, you can just make the best of the bad situation. I never thought, maybe if Ireland was nil all after 60 minutes, maybe, the mood would have been different. And it could have turned a little bit nasty in some ways, but generally, I think there was making the best of a bad situation approach to it. They're in reasonable spirits. A few early goals. The early goal just took the sting out of the banana skin story. Really, it was obvious. Like Gibraltar could barely get out of half. Really, so it's a professional job, I guess. It's, as I said, it's just a shame. It's not really relevant to anything.
Yeah, with the fact that Gibraltar lost to every single Euro qualifier and World Cup qualifier they previously played, obviously Ireland were going to win this one, so there's not much more you can say about the game, really. But there was a line out of Stephen Kenny in the press conference after about a certain player whose paperwork hasn't gone through yet. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so it was just in the context of speaking about wingers, is referring to the fact he likes the 4-3-3 system. It's one of the oddities of his time that he's ended up in his dream job, spending most of the time playing a formation that he's never really used. But his argument would be, well, he doesn't really have the options to play that system. And even if you were play, say, Johnson and Ogbeni, might not have an option off the bench, and he says you need to add depth in that area, and they're in the process of doing that. They're doing the paperwork for a player in the championship who's the player. Starts the guessing game, just to get the cap on now and go searching names and try and figure out who it is. But the reality, unfortunately, for Stephen Kenny is that it's very unlikely that he's going to get benefit from the services of this player, even if he's played a role in convincing them to come this way.
It's certainly a case of, as you are, Ireland obviously still out there running for qualification for Euro 2024. Stephen Kenny, his role up for review after the campaign, of course, as well. But there's a bit of playoff news after this evening's results, Dan, and the permutations.
Well, yeah, it started off, it was a 12% chance in this window, then it went to 2%, then it went to 0.52 to the point where I don't know if we have anything left, any percentage left. The only scenario tonight would have involved needed Slovakia to not finish in the top two in their group, but a combination of them winning in Luxembourg and Bosnia, who've been appalling, losing 5-0 at home to Portugal. It's pretty much done. It's been done, really, to be honest, since Poland messed up in their group and Turkey won in Croatia last week. That was sort of the end of it. But while there's hope, people give out to you for bringing it up, but people have to ask the question: are you officially out of the Euros? They're not officially out, but they're done.
We have the Dutch away next month, the last qualifier, and then a home friendly against New Zealand. So it's definitely going to be a long winter. But Dan, that's great. Thanks for joining us. We'll chat again soon, and safe home.
Thank you.